Welcome everyone to the Pipefy Basic Concepts webinar. My name is Isabel and I am the Product Content Manager here at Pipefy. Today, I'll present you guys with an introduction to the basic concepts in Pipefy structure. This webinar is not a product demonstration, so we're not going to go through the different screens inside of Pipefy. Our focus here today is teaching you guys more about the platform, how it works, and how it can help improve your company's process management. If you guys have any question as I go by the presentation, feel free to send them in the chat box and I'll get to them at the end, okay? Many people struggle with the concept of what is a process. They tend to think that processes are documented, complex activities, when in real life, processes can be any recurring activity, from making coffee every morning to flying an airplane or assembling a car. The Oxford Dictionary defines a process as a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. In other words, it's an activity made of a series of smaller parts that are followed by a person or a team to get to a defined end. In Pipefy, your processes are called pipe. You're probably thinking that your company or even your department may not have reached the sophistication level required to have processes, right? That's wrong. All companies have processes because they're everywhere. From small startups to huge companies, processes are literally everywhere, even if they haven't been mapped or managed yet. Some processes we can find in many companies are accounts payable and receivable, task management, expense reimbursement, recruitment, sales pipeline, and so on. Processes and projects are not the same thing, and consequently, they should not be managed using the same methods or even the same tools. It's very important that we set them apart to help you understand why there is a way to manage each one differently. So projects. Projects are finite. They have a clear beginning, middle, and end. They are defined by a goal, such as building a house, or a time frame, for example, a month. Projects are unique, and once the defined limit is achieved, they're going to come to an end. So some projects are building a house, throwing a party. There are things that you take some time to organize, and you have a goal, and once you reach your goal, you're done. Your project is done. Processes, on the other hand, are continuous. There are cycles happening repeatedly. The more you execute a process, the more you will learn about it and improve it. Due to the fact that they're continuous, processes normally have execution rules or standards. Project and task management tools don't normally offer the possibility of establishing those standards. You can do that in Pipefy. That's why it's very important that you use the right tools to manage each one. If you manage a process as if it were a project and vice versa using the wrong methodology or the wrong tool, you're probably going to cause mistakes and inefficiencies, and in the long run, that can be very expensive for your department. It can generate unnecessary expenses, so we don't want that. We want you to manage your processes as efficiently as possible. There are numerous process management methodologies out there in the market. Most of them are considered way too complex or too expensive for most teams. BPMN is one of the most famous ones. Are the famous flowcharts, the little boxes with the arrows. And it's normally the first contact most people have with process management. And even though it's pretty good for mapping processes, so if you don't have any idea of how your processes work, you're just trying to figure out what's going on, what are the steps involved in it, it's pretty good. So you're going to have, it's going to be really useful to help you map your processes, but when it comes to actually managing your daily operations, it's not really useful. So you can build the best flowchart in the world, but on your day-to-day activities, it's probably going to end up in the bottom of a drawer. So it's not going to be really useful. Lean is a very well-known management methodology, mostly due to the TPS, the Toyota Production System. Pipefy's interface was based in one of Lean's most popular tools, Kanban. I'll talk more about Kanban in a minute. And lastly, SIPOC, or IPO for short, is our CEO's favorite methodology. The acronym stands for Suppliers, Input, Process, Output, and Customers. It focuses on mapping processes and understanding how they work. We'll also talk a little more about how a SIPOC works further along this webinar. So what is Kanban? Kanban was developed in the 1950s by Taiichi Ohno, who was an industrial engineer at Toyota, and it was developed as an inventory control system. It consisted in a physical card, so a piece of paper, that went through the phases in the production line to help control their parts inventory. Basically, they were cards going through different phases of a process. In Pipefy, it works pretty much the same way, except for the fact that both the cards and the phases are virtual. The first contact most people have with Kanban looks like this, a whiteboard with 3 phases: to do, doing, and done, with post-its representing the activities. This format is used mostly for task and project management, and it's very effective for this purpose. In Pipefy's Kanban interface, however, you can customize the phases of your Kanban by adding fields and establishing execution rules and standards. So instead of having simply columns in your Kanban, you can have rules for each phase of your process. One of the main benefits of this interface is that it ensures a dynamic and transparent management. Every user can easily identify what each person is doing, what needs to be done next, etc. So Pipefy CEO and founder Alessio Alonso is an expert in process management and improvement. Even with all his knowledge and experience, he was facing many difficulties managing the processes in his previous company. Then he searched the market for the available solutions. So he tried everything he could find, from simple task management tools to more complex SAPs, and everything he found was either too simple for his needs or too complex for his team to understand and adopt. That was when he decided to create Pipefy. So he found the opportunity because there wasn't a tool that offered the level of customization he needed, but without the added complexity. So he identified the opportunity of creating a tool that was easy, dynamic, and fully customizable way to manage processes of all types. So what is Pipefy? Pipefy is the best way to manage all your company's processes in a single place. What sets Pipefy apart from all the other alternatives in the market is the fact that it's simple to use and it's easily customizable. It is focused mostly on empowering managers to create and manage their own processes without technical knowledge or IT support. So our main goal is giving you control over your own processes so that you don't depend on your IT department to change a simple field in your process or for anything else. So you have complete control and you can easily change anything about your process in a matter of seconds. Your company structure inside Pipefy is very similar to your company's actual structure in real life. So the company here, it encompasses all the team members and the processes you manage. So you have your team members and they're part of your process. Each process is made of phases that are the execution steps. So the steps are the phases. Inside the phases, we have the fields that are the execution rules, and we have the cards, or the activities that flow through your pipe's phases until they're done. This is your company's main screen inside Pipefy. You can have as many pipes, so each of these squares here is a pipe. You can have as many pipes as you need in your company. So the company dashboard is made of a series of elements. So I'm going to go over a few of these real quick. So up here, you can see your company name. And right next to it, you see Pipefy's logo here. If you click here from any other screen inside Pipefy, you're going to be redirected back to this dashboard. This option here, Pipes, is the Pipes view. So this is the view you're seeing here on the screen. Then we have the database view. The database is actually one of our advanced features in which you can create data tables. You can use from your processes or you can add data from inside your processes. So if you click here on database, you're gonna access your created databases. Then we have the company reports in which you can see general data from 2 or more processes in your company to keep track, for example, of a specific employee's performance in 2 or more processes. Then we have the apps and integrations, where you can access our advanced apps, including our automation feature, which is one of our most used advanced feature that enables you to create automation rules to do a lot of actions inside your pipe. So you can move cards automatically, you can update fields automatically. It lets you do a lot of things to save a lot of time. Then up here you have this little balloon icon. So this is the in-app chat. You can click on it anytime you need to talk to our support team. If you have a question or if you need support, you just click here and it's going to open a side menu so you can talk to our team. Then the notifications here, if you click on this little bell, it's going to display your notifications. Then if you click on your profile picture, you're going to open a menu that has the following options. It has the My Tasks option, user settings, in which you can edit your name, email, a time zone, your Pipefy language. Then we have the knowledge base if you want to check out or help articles. The company settings if you're the company admin. So if you're the company admin, you can access the company settings to edit the company name, the color that goes up here in the header. And we also have keyboard shortcuts and logout. In this menu, you access clicking on your profile picture. Then we have this button here, which you click to add new members to your company. So when you click here, it's going to open a little pop-up window in which you can add their emails, select their permission, and send out an invitation. This little person icon here is where you click to open the list of all your company members and their permission levels. We have 3 different permission levels inside the company in Pipefy. So a user can either be an admin user. Admins have access to all the pipes, even the private pipes inside your company, and they can also access your company settings. Then you have the members. Members have access to all public pipes and the other pipes they're invited to. And you have the guest users that are free users. You don't have to pay for guests, but guests can only create cards in public pipes. They cannot be added to any pipe because whenever they're added to a pipe, they're no longer guests. They become members of your company. So if you want to have free users, so they're only able to create cards, you can have guest users, but they cannot be added to any of your pipes. Next here we have this little icon here is the activity timeline. You can see the activity log. You can see the timeline of your company's activities. Then here, remember I mentioned the My Tasks option here on the menu. This first square here is the My Tasks option. You click on it to be redirected to another screen to view all your cards that have been assigned to you, and they're divided into nearing due date, overdue, late, and expired. And this little star here it shows that this pipe is a favorite pipe. So if you click on the star, it's going to appear in front of all other pipes. The pipes are alphabetically ordered, but if you have pipes you use more on a daily basis, so let's suppose I use the help desk pipe more, I can make it a favorite, and it's going to be displayed in front of all others. And this is a personal setting, so it's not going to be displayed for everyone in my company. It's just going to be displayed as my favorite pipe. And then we have this little padlock icon here. This shows that this specific pipe is a private pipe. Private pipes can only be viewed and accessed by either company admins, the pipe admins, or users that have been invited into these pipes. So this feature is really useful if you have processes that have sensitive information, such as HR, finance pipes. So you can make your pipes private so that they're not displayed for all the members in your company. And lastly, you have here the button for adding new pipe. Then the pipe. Inside Pipefy, as I mentioned, your processes are called pipes. Pipefy enables users to create pipes to manage all types of processes, from simple ones, such as team task management, to more complex ones, such as managing a supply chain from end to end. We're also going to go over the elements in the pipe dashboard real quick here. So up here, you can see the name of your company and the name of your pipe. So it's always going to be displayed one next to the other. Then we have here the upper left corner, we have the back button. So from inside your pipe, from any screen inside your pipe, if you want to come back to this view, the Kanban view, you just click the back button and it's going to take you back to this screen. Then we have three different options. Here actually we have the calendar, which is an app. So we have two different views. We have the Kanban view, which is this one that displays all your cards separated into your phases. Then we have the reports view. The reports view displays all your pipes data, so everything that was inserted in your pipes fields in every phase, and also other aspects such as who created the card, when it was created, when it was finished, in a table view. So you can use this table to reorder data, filter it, and export the data. So if you want to export data from your pipe, you can use the reports feature to do that. Up here we have the same options, so in-app chat, notifications, and the profile picture to access the menu. Here we have the button for inviting members into this pipe. So we taught you guys how to invite members to your company. Then we have the option here to inviting members into your pipe. Then we have the little person icon here where we click to see a list of all the members in our pipe and their permission levels. In the company we had 3 permission levels, and in the pipe we have 5 different permission levels. So in the pipe you can be an admin. So admin users have access to everything, and they can also edit the pipe settings. You can be a member. You can be a restricted view. So restricted view users can only see the cards they have created or that have been assigned to them. You have the view only permission, that users can only view the cards but they cannot edit them. And we also have the start form only permission. So users can only open the pipe to create new cards, but they cannot view any of the cards inside the pipe. Then we also have the options here, the pipe metrics, the activity log. Then we have the filter. So we can choose to filter our pipe based on label or assignee, or even we can search for the data in the fields we used as title. So this here is the title, or the subtitles. So if you want to be able to search for a specific field in your pipe, let's say the customer email, it's very important that you use that as a subtitle. So you're going to be able to use the filter to search for that. And then we have the little gear icon here where you click to open the pipe settings sidebar. So when you click here, it's going to open a sidebar with a ton of options where you can edit your pipe settings, the start form, you can create email templates, and many other features. You can click either here on this plus icon or in the lower right corner to open the start form to create a new card. This you can see the name of the phase, so name of the phase is prospect, and the number right next to it is the amount of cards currently in this phase. When we hover over the name of a phase, we see a little 3 dot icon next to it. If we click on those 3 little dots, we're going to open a menu that enables us to edit the phase, create a new phase, move phase to the left or to the right, edit phase movement, so we can choose where we want to be able to move the card to. So I'm in the prospect phase, and I can set up that I'm not going to be able to move cards straight to proposal. I only want to move cards to meeting. So I can do that by editing the action buttons. And I can also choose to delete the phase. It's very important that if you choose to delete a phase or a pipe, you keep in mind that all the data you have inside that phase, so if you have cards inside the phase and you delete the phase, the cards are also going to be gone. So it's very important to pay close attention to that. The same goes for fields. If I have a customer email field and I delete that field from my start form, all the data that was inserted in that field in every card I ever created in this pipe is also going to be gone. So pay close attention when deleting things in your pipe. Then a phase, as I mentioned, is a step in the execution of a process. So if we were to follow the Kanban methodology strictly, the cards would move laterally from left to right through the phases of our pipe. So Pipefy is pretty much customizable. You can customize everything about it. So you can edit the settings of how a card can be moved through the pipe's phases. So you can skip phases when managing nonlinear processes. So we can establish that we cannot skip phases, or we can also establish that we can. So if we want to be able to move cards to every phase in your pipe, you can do that by editing your phase settings. Fields are the bricks that build your pipe's form and phases. They're your process's execution rules. The fields exist to help to let people know what needs to be done at every phase of your pipe. You can use different types of fields to either give instructions or to ask for specific pieces of information. The fields help establish and enforce execution standards to prevent mistakes, inefficiency, and misunderstandings. We can, for example, create mandatory fields that people are not going to be able to move cards on to the next phases unless they have provided the information asked for in those fields. So that's how we enforce and establish execution standards. Pipefy offers 17 different field types, from number and short text to email that has format validation to checklist, which is a multiple choice field in which you can select more than one alternative, due date, and much more. Every field, whenever you're creating a field, every field is going to have a field label, which is the name of the field. So this is the name of the field. This is a vertical radial field. And they can also have, which are the optionals, they can also have a description. So right here it has options is the description. So you can use the description to add an explanation or a description actually about the field. And it's displayed right under the title in light gray. If it's a multiple choice field, as this one, because it's a radio, you're going to have this option, this section here to add the options one by one. Then we also have a section for adding a help text. Help texts are very good for adding further explanation about the field. We can use that to include images, use formatting. For example, if we have a label select field in which users are expected to select the priority of an issue, we can use a help text to explain them about each priority and when they should select each one. If we create a help text, it's going to be displayed like this, a little eye icon next to the name of the field, and when you click on it, it's going to open the content you created. And we also have the options of selecting the field settings. So we can make a field mandatory, as I mentioned to you guys. So if a field is mandatory, people cannot move cards forward without filling it. We can make a field minimal view. So if we make it minimal view, it's not going to be displayed with all the options. It's just going to be the title displayed as a link. So when you click on it, it's going to open down the options of the field. And we can make it editable or not in other phases. So for example, For example, if I have the fields in my start form and I establish that I don't want them to be editable in any other phase of my pipe, if I have a field that was not filled or if it was filled incorrectly in the start form, I'm not going to be able to edit it in the other phases of my pipe. But if I selected that it is editable in other phases, I'm going to be able to edit in all other phases of my pipe. This here is a card. This is the closed card view, and a card is a visual representation of an activity in a pipe. Cards can represent different things in different processes. So for example, here we have a sales pipeline. A card is a new customer or a new sales opportunity. If we had a purchase process, each card would be a purchase request or a new item that needed to be purchased. If we had a task management pipe, each card would represent a task, and so on. Every card is divided into two sides, so you can clearly see that it has a division right here. So we have the left side of the card where we can see all the information that was added in the start form. So we have all the fields here in the start form. This information is always going to be here, as well as the history. So the data inserted in the other phases of our pipe. So we can easily click on each of these little rectangles here to display a drop down and see the data from the other phases of our pipe. We can also customize, click here to customize this view. We can also customize the left side to display other elements such as emails, comments, the card checklist, etc. Then on the right side, we have the fields that are in this phase. So this is the field, these are the fields that need to be filled in this phase. And then we'll also see the card's activity log down here. So the activity log is the history of the card. It has everything, the timeline of everything that happened to the card from the moment it was created. So if you want to see who edited the card, what information was deleted, you can see everything down here. Just scroll all the way down and you can see all that information. We also have here the Move To button, where we can click to move the card to other phases. And then up here we have what we call the top buttons that are fixed fields we can choose to display or not by clicking on this plus icon here. So the assignees, labels, attachments, checklists, comments, and email, we can choose to display them or hide them according to the needs of our process. Before actually clicking the button to start creating a new pipe inside Pipefy, I'd like you guys to take a few minutes to go back to the methodology I mentioned to you guys, the SIPOC, and map your processes before you start creating it, because if you take a moment to map it, you're going to have all the necessary information to create it a lot more quickly. We have internal teams here, our implementation and solutions design team, that are responsible for helping customers create processes, and they actually use the SIPOC methodology to help our customers map their processes and create them inside Pipefy. So the first step is defining our processes input. What does it take to set it in motion? This is what we're going to ask for in our pipe start form, the form we're going to use every time we create new card. Our form should ask for all the relevant information to kick off the process without adding unnecessary fields. So the more fields we have, the less likely people are to fill them all. So we need to make sure we ask for all the relevant information without adding friction to our form. Then, once we define the input, we're going to go to the output. We're going to look into the expected result of our process. What's going to be our success metric to determine that our process has been successful? So we need to establish that. We need to establish what establishes that our process has been finished, and what's the metric we're going to use to measure that. It's very important that we measure our results, because we need to improve our processes continually. And if we don't have data to measure our performance by, we're not going to be able to improve them continuously. After we've established the input, which is the point A, and the output, which is the point B, we need to find out everything we need to do to take us from point A to point B. So this is when we're going to start thinking about the phases and fields. You can create as many phases and as many fields as you need to ensure the execution of your process. Also, when you're creating a new process, you can forget about the data you want to extract from it. So you can only extract the data you've actually added to your process at some point. So you need to keep that in mind when creating your field. Creating a new pipe is actually super simple. You only need to access your company dashboard, which was the first screen I showed you guys. Then you click on the Create New Pipe button, and then you're going to see this screen here. When you see this, you have the option of creating a new pipe from scratch. So you're going to have a clean slate for creating your process, or you can select from one of Pipefy's pre-designed process templates. We have a library of hundreds of pre-designed process templates developed by our solutions design team, which you can use to base your processes on. It's very important that you guys know that everything about those templates can also be customized and adapted to your needs. So if we have a sales pipeline template, for example, but it's not exactly what you need, you can start your process using the template and then change the fields according to your needs. You can do that. Besides the hundreds of process templates to help you create your own processes, we have many advanced features and apps that help you improve your processes and save a lot of time. I'm not going to dive deeper into any of those features, but we have webinars in our page about most of them, if not all of them. Some of them are automation, which you can use to create automation rules inside your pipes. Connection, which you can use to connect your pipes, one pipe to another or one pipe to a database. The email templates, which is the email automation tool. Field conditionals, which is a feature that enables you to display or hide fields according to the selection in other fields in your pipe. We have the SLA control, integrations to other apps via Zapier or API. We have the advanced reports, the database, which I already mentioned, our mobile app, and many other features. We also have a few native integrations with Slack, Google Hangouts, and a few other apps. And we have the calendar app, which I mentioned to you guys, that enables you to see all cards that have due dates set in a calendar view. And we also have the Sprint Planner app that helps you manage your sprints, which is complete with a burn down chart. Thanks everyone for joining Pipefy Basic Concept webinar. If you have any question, feel free to reach out via the in-app chat or directly in my email, isabel@pipefy.com. Thanks again for joining, and I hope to see you all in our next webinars. Have a great day.